Today we're going to discuss the impact that inflation has on the commercial insurance market. And just to give you a date of when I'm talking about this, it is February 1st, 2022. Inflation continues to rise. There are a whole mess of numbers. It completely depends who you're talking to. If you're talking straight to the federal government, the numbers seem a little lower. If you're talking to economists and some of the people who are actually dealing in the market, working with small business owners and mid-sized business owners, you're seeing much higher numbers in terms of inflation. Regardless of what the specific number is, inflation is on the rise, and it is absolutely impacting both the standard general economy and the operations of business every day, as well as the commercial insurance market. And that's what I wanted to break down with you. What we're going to try to address in this video is specifically how you can set up your insurance program, or just things that you need to consider with your insurance to combat inflation and ultimately protect the sustainability and profitability of your business, which is what this YouTube channel is all about, right? Like, we talk through insurance related terms, topics, we answer insurance related questions to protect the sustainability and profitability of your business. That's everything we do. If you enjoy this video, love for you to just tap that like button. That helps YouTube know that this video has value, and that they'll show this to more business owners or people who have similar interests to you, as well as if you have questions, comments, just leave them below the video and I'll be happy to answer as many as I can. And if you want to email us directly, you can email us at gorogue@roguerisk.com. Okay, so the major issues that are attached to inflation that are impacting the commercial insurance market today are twofold. One is labor shortages, right? Don't want to get overly political, but essentially the federal government has been paying people to stay home for a period of time because of COVID or in conjunction with COVID. Don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but there are labor shortages happening today. That is absolute reality. Doesn't matter, jobless claims and all that kind of stuff. There are a tremendous number of people at home. There are more than 10 million jobs as of the recording of this video, 10 million jobs that are open in the United States that just are not being filled, and labor shortages are a major concern. The other major concern is supply chain disruptions. Now, you may have seen some of the graphics of all the ships like out in the middle of the ocean that can't get into our harbors because of COVID. Some of that is starting to break up, but with issues around the trucking industry, the last mile trucking delivery, warehousing, all the the labor shortages are impacting the supply chain as well, because you don't have people to get containers off ships, get the stuff out of the containers into the warehouses, onto the trucks. So all of this is creating some major issues in our economy right now, and they are both contributing and a result of inflation. So what does that really mean in terms of its impact? Well, there are two main insurance coverages that these inflation-related issues are impacting at a drastic level. Okay, the first is commercial property coverage. Now, just to give you kind of an example, I had a gentleman who was buying an 8-unit apartment building in New York City call me back in July for a policy. And we went through the whole process of making sure we had the proper replacement cost on that building, and it came out to like $1.6 million to replace the building. Which seemed reasonable and fine at the time. Well, for a whole bunch of reasons, the deal didn't go through back in July, and it just went through in January. Well, from July to January, the company reevaluated the replacement cost of that building based on what it would take to rebuild it in today's materials and labor costs, and the building was reassessed for replacement cost, not market value, but replacement cost of $2.1 million. That's $500,000 increase in replacement cost of a building in 6 months, which is absolutely insane. And this is a big part of the problem. It's not necessarily that commercial insurers are raising property rates, although it's happening a little bit. It's more just the straight replacement cost, the bricks and sticks, the humans that it takes to rebuild a building or property in general has just gone through the roof. And there's a few things that we need to be careful with that, because you could find yourself, if you're not properly increasing your replacement cost values of your properties to match that, you could find yourself shifting from replacement cost to actual cash value if you had a loss. And actual cash value means depreciated value. You do, unless you are being hyper tactical, and a lot of people who insure their buildings for actual cash value think they're being smart, and that's debatable. But unless you're knowingly insuring your building for actual cash value, you are going to be miserable if you have a loss and you think you're getting replacement cost and you're actually getting actual cash value. So we'll talk about what that means in a minute, but property in particular is being highly impacted. And the other one is commercial auto. Commercial auto is just a disaster. The rates, the losses, a lot of this has to do with just the litigious nature of our society, the cost to replace the electronics in bumpers, to replace the electronics that are all throughout a vehicle are just going up. Tire costs, materials costs, metals costs. So if there's an accident, that accident, just the cost to repair that accident has drastically increased because of inflation, which is then, causing an overall increase in commercial auto rates. So while, it is tougher and it costs more to replace these autos, at the same time that just rates for commercial insurance, for commercial auto insurance are drastically increasing, and there's not a whole lot you can do. You want to make sure that you're shopping those rates, but more and more carriers are getting out of commercial auto insurance for that very reason, which is creating just a squeeze on the commercial auto market. It's something to be careful about. So as a business owner, what can you do about inflation and its impact on the commercial insurance market? Well, you want to start having renewal conversations with your agent early. If your agent's not connecting with you, if they're not talking through some of these things with you, if they're not helping you figure out how you can navigate this space, then maybe it's time to reevaluate your broker relationship. This is definitely not a time to be DIYing your insurance. I know there are more and more markets out there that are going direct from the carrier to the business owner. And while that may seem like a smart decision, it may seem like you're cutting out the middleman, you're also getting one market and you're getting zero attention or service. There is no incentive for a carrier who you work with directly to help you optimize your program, because that only leads to questions that could potentially get you to leave. So they're not going to do those things. So now is really where working with a broker, and a broker who's going to help educate you and hold your hand through these conversations, is going to be valuable. Additionally, we want to look at terms, conditions, exclusions. Make sure that the carriers aren't adding anything to the policy which could remove coverage. You want to look at your property values. Make sure that your property values match what is necessary to get a replacement cost valuation if you have a loss. Again, replacement cost means what does it take to rebuild this structure in today's materials. Actual cash value means what is the depreciated value of this building, and we're going to pay you some percentage of that. It is a nightmare to find out that your structure, your property is being valued at actual cash value when you think it's going to be back at replacement cost. You don't get your building back is really what the thing is, or you're coming out of your pocket for a huge number. And if you've budgeted for that, that's great, but most people haven't. You do not want to get that surprise. And last but not least, risk management, right? There is an opportunity here to really dive into risk management, maybe increase deductibles to reduce cost or to mitigate the increase in cost on policies, and input or install some risk management policies, procedures, systems in your business to help reduce overall losses. I know that's another thing to think about as a business owner, but very, very important. So inflation absolutely has an impact in the commercial insurance market. It is real. Guys, if you need help, if you have questions, reach out. That's what we're here for. Rogue Risk is a different kind of brokerage. We educate you in this way because we want to help you through these things. It's why we're here. And we work in all 50 states, so we can help you wherever you are. You can give us a call, 518-960-6600. You can email us at gorogue@roguerisk.com. You can visit us online at roguerisk.com, or I'm sure there's a button or a link somewhere around this video that will let you contact us. Whichever way you choose, we look forward to working with you.